Recently, Garmin came out with the new Fēnix 8, which now has dive computer functionality built into what is otherwise a general purpose modern smartwatch. Well, up until now, as our dive computers, we've been using Garmin Descent MK3Is, which are dedicated dive watches. With the new features on the Fēnix 8, we wanted to put the two side by side and see how the general purpose watch compares to the dedicated dive watch now.
They each come in a variety of sizes, so we're comparing the 43mm version of each. These both have about a 10-day active battery life, about the same, and they both have a ton of health features and activity tracking profiles, from running, cycling, yoga, strength training, to triathlon, hiking, skiing, rock climbing, horseback riding, golfing, archery. This is Garmin we're talking about. You name it, it's in there. These are both great multi-sport athletic smartwatches, and the prices are basically comparable. The MK3 is a little more expensive. It's $1,200, give or take, and that's without Air integration. The Fēnix 8 is about $1,000, and the Fēnix 8 does not offer Air integration, so we're comparing them without that feature. Fēnix 8 has Garmin's upgraded hardware, including additional satellite navigation and the new Elevate V5 heart rate sensors. It also has ECG recording, LED flashlight, and speaker and voice assist. I won't go into all the hardware details, but DC Rainmaker has a really good review of this hardware upgrade. Short version is, the hardware on the Fēnix is Garmin's latest and greatest, while the MK3 is one generation backwards. The features are actually kind of a mixed bag. They each have some things that the other doesn't, and it kind of comes out in a wash. So the Fēnix 8 has sleep coach, a strength coach, a health snapshot, meditation functionality, and the ECG hardware. The MK3 has boating, gaming, and several tactical features. Of course, obviously, we're focusing more on the dive aspects of the two, and the Descent was purpose-built as a diving watch with some other stuff. So the Descent has more dive functionality. It goes to 200 meters versus only 40 meters for the Fēnix. The Descent has multi-gas, including trimix functionality, where the Fēnix does only air and nitrox. The Descent has a lot more dive planning functionality. It has apnea or free diving features and capability. And it has a dive readiness dashboard that's very similar to the training readiness dashboard, where the Fēnix doesn't have that dive readiness feature. We really like this specific dive readiness dashboard because it shows you at a glance whether you're at risk for a dive, while the tissue loading screen is really kind of unintuitive. And on the Fēnix, all you get is that tissue loading screen. Okay, now, despite that, for basic recreational diving, which is pretty much what we do, the Fēnix 8 and the MK3 are really equal, which honestly kind of surprised me. I figured the MK3 would be more accurate or have better or more functionality, but for what a recreational diver does, they really are pretty comparable. The Fēnix really does work for everything that you'll need in a recreational sort of trip profile. Now, obviously, if you're a more technical diver, you're going to want the Descent MK3 between these two, and you can upgrade it from there. You can get the rather painfully pricey MK3i or the super fancy and huge new X50i, and get a compatible transmitter, and you can have integrated air monitoring capability. And by the way, that air monitoring allows you to connect to multiple different tank transmitters, which means if you're tech diving, you can monitor multiple tanks of your own. But if you're diving with your buddy, you can also monitor each other's air, which we've found to be a really cool, useful, at a glance, being able to see where both of us are air-wise. But if you're just an active, sporty person who wants their Garmin watch and happens to dive maybe once or twice a year, and you don't worry about integrated air monitoring, like if you usually just rent equipment from a dive shop that you're visiting, then the Fēnix is a really great option. For basic recreational diving, it works just as well as the MK3. It's a bit less expensive, and you can use it for all of your other health tracking and sports. And the upgraded hardware means it's going to have a longer life cycle of Garmin support. My only real call out or caveat goes back to that dive readiness dashboard that's only available on the MK3 and is not on the Fēnix. In my opinion, a new or irregular diver is more likely to need that dashboard than an experienced diver, because less experienced divers are less likely to know what kinds of things may impact their DCS risk. And that tracker does a really good job of integrating things that you may not be fully cognizant of. Things like your stress level, your sleep level, and that dashboard can spot you getting a sinus infection or some other illness before you really recognize that you're coming down with something. Now, here's a prime example. Shortly after getting her MK3, my wife went for a 5K run before a dive, and the dive readiness dashboard went from 100 down to like a little under 40 with the notation of severe risk of DCS. We did some online searching and realized that, yeah, indeed, hard exercise within 24 hours of diving is, or can be, associated with DCS risk. A regular diver probably knows that, but a casual one maybe won't.
Garmin, if you're watching this, you could do some people some real good. You might even save a life or two if you just add this dive readiness dashboard to the Fēnix 8. 54. Jeez. Well, I'm not diving today. We'll see you in the water tomorrow. Hopefully you guys liked the video. Thanks for watching.